Welcome back. English Premier League and England striker Daniel Sturridge returned to Jamaica this summer to host his annual charity Family Fun Day football tournament and reggae concert. Staged on Saturday, July 16 in Ocho Rios under the auspices of his record label and foundation, the Sturridge Foundation. This was the event's third installment, and like the previous, was supported by some of the biggest names in reggae and dancehall. Onstage had the privilege of an exclusive one-on-one with the third generation Jamaican international baller at his villa in Ocho Rios. So Daniel, thank you sir for having us.
Pleasure's all mine, man.
Oh yes, and we must congratulate you for the tremendous work you're doing and with your foundation in Jamaica, and for wanting to come here and would you call it give back, or?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for myself, it's been first and foremost a pleasure to, you know, to have a homeland like Jamaica, you know, from our grandparents and way before them, to be able to come to a place like this and to give back to my roots is always something that has been on my mind from before I become a professional footballer.
Okay.
But to be able to do that here and to be able to try and make a difference is always a great feeling.
So were you raised as a Jamaican?
Yes, very much. You know, from the food, you know, to the music, to just the culture, the vibes, everything about where I grew up. There was a big Caribbean influence anyway in my environment. Not just my household in terms of the dancing and in terms of the food and in terms of all that stuff, the music, but more so in my community as well. There was a lot of Caribbean restaurants, especially Jamaican restaurants, a lot of patois being taught, a lot of, you know, just that whole vibe. Where I grew up in Birmingham in England, that's how it was. So coming here, it just felt like, when I first touched down in Jamaica, it just felt like home immediately. You know, besides the fact of my grandparents being from here,
yes,
and so on and so forth, aunties, uncles, granduncles, parents, everything, you know, cousins that still live here. A lot of people still live in Jamaica, but to have, you know, this place is, as I said, my homeland, it's a brilliant feeling. Yeah,
but being Jamaican and accepting your Jamaican roots, what are the negatives? What are the positives? How do you weigh it? When you weigh it up, what's winning?
I never ever feel like there's any negatives when it comes to Jamaica, to be honest with you. I feel like if you look at the world as a place, and you look at, if you was to ask anyone around the world, I'm talking about the whole world, and you was to ask them, name me 3 countries that you love, Jamaica would always be one.
Yes.
Because there's so much history, there's so much good energy here, there's so much people that have been influential around the world, you know, that it's one of those places that will always be forever in people's mindsets, whether it be Marcus Garvey, whether it be Bob Marley, whether it be Usain, whoever it may be. There's always people, you know, who are from Jamaica, who have transcended and allowed this country to be kind of magnified and glorified. You know, people look at Jamaica and they look at it under a microscope, and it's such a small island, but it's so big around the world that you can never, I can never say there's any negatives about this place. The positives have always been my mindset and the things which has enabled me to have confidence with the dancing and with those types of things. The food, for instance, which has allowed me to be strong, allowed me to have the strength, you know, even from the speed on the pitch to the agility and all those things. I think if I wasn't if I didn't have that Jamaican heritage, I don't know if I'd have that. So
I'm sure people are now very curious about the food, the menu.
I mean, you know, growing up, everything was on the menu, man. Anything was on the menu. Ackee and saltfish, you know, eating a lot of dumplings. I remember when I was young, people used to always say, "Oh, he looks big for his age." And I remember my mum used to say it's the hard food. Like, obviously, that's the only thing. It must be the yam and the banana and all those types of things. So, you know, for myself, even to this day, I still eat the same foods I ate then. I don't, you know, eat salads and things like that. I always have the hard food. I try to have as much hard food as I can. Ackee and saltfish,
Yeah.
You know, the oxtail rice and peas, my favourite dish. You know, the curry goat, all those types of things we still eat at home to this day, always and forever. We will always do that.
Well, you know, it's fair to say then, sir, that you are a proud third generation.
Yeah, of course.
Super proud indeed.
Yeah, super proud, man, super proud.
All right, so let's jump into this event that you do, the Family Fun Day, the third staging.
Yeah, third stage. You know, it's in the fourth year. Sorry, I should say.
This is the fourth staging.
Yeah, it's the fourth. It's been something that we've been you know, thinking about for a long time. As I said, living in England, I was always thinking about it. Always thinking about what we could do in order to give people hope, I guess, give people an opportunity to experience something, that they may not always be able to experience.
Yes.
So it was, as I said, it was a no-brainer for us as a family, as a Sturridge family, and extended. It was a no-brainer for us to come back home and to try and give people an opportunity, as I said, to do things they don't get to do with, you know, the work that they do and the hours at work that they have to do, you know, feeding their families and so on and so forth. So it was important for us to make sure the day was free, that everybody could come and enjoy themselves, to have a free occasion. And that's what the Family Fun Day is all about, you know, giving kids an opportunity to express themselves on the football field.
Yes.
And then also allowing people to come and see artists and see the musicians that they may not be able to afford to see or be able to see due to work restrictions or time or whatever. So it was important for us to do it, and I want to stress to the artists, I hope that they can keep the lyrics PG-13 and not to be too, you know, too explicit with their lyrics and stuff, because we want to allow the kids to enjoy it just as much as the adults would.
How do you find that though? The relationship with them. How difficult is it to get them to do this? This list of artists that you have here, most of whom are dancehallers. Is it difficult to get them to support you?
No, it's not difficult. And why it's not difficult is because they understand the cause. They understand what we're trying to do. Okay. They understand that it's important to do things like this for the community. The songs they put out, I listen to them at home myself, and I wouldn't necessarily say that it's important to stress that what they're saying or what they're talking about is a bad thing. It's important to understand that what they're doing is creative, and also to stress that with this particular day, we want them to be PG and to keep the lyrics clean. And
you yourself, you're involved. You're an artist, a budding artist, I'm told, is it?
I mean, you know, for me, I've been involved in music for a long time now, and I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an artist, but I have a record label. My dad also has Stir Class Entertainment, which is a record label in Jamaica, and he has an artist signed Jason, who's from here also, and they've released a lot of songs that are out. You know, Popcorn's done songs. A lot of people have done songs from Version, I think some other people. So, you know, they have a lot of things going on in Jamaica. So hopefully they'll be able to sign a lot more artists over here. Stir Class Entertainment will, and I'm more based in the UK and US artists and things like that. And we produce beats, we do things like that. I have a producer who I grew up with close to me, who I keep very close to me. I knew him from when I was 6 years old, so 20 years now. And he's a producer. He produces dancehall music as well as every kind of music. But yeah, man, it's one of those things. You know, it's exciting for me to be involved, not just in a charity foundation, but to be also involved in something like music aside from football, because football's kind of like you're zoned in on that. So it's nice to have something that you can kind of get away and music.
How serious are you about music?
I'm very serious, very serious. I think that it's something that, you know, football's not always going to be there. And I think a career like music, whether you're in management, whether you're in as a label, whether you've got a publishing company or production company, or, you know, you're just trying to sign artists and sign them on deals, I think I have an ear for music. I think I know when a song's good. I think I know when an artist's good. I think I know when you can groom somebody into being something different. Maybe they're explicit. They need to keep their lyrics clean. Maybe their image isn't as clean cut as it should be, so on and so forth. There's a lot of things that can be done. I think in Jamaica there's so much talent here. There's so many people that are so talented, not just in music, but in things like athletics, sports, cooking. acting, everything. There's a lot of potential here. I grew up watching Oliver, Samuels when I was young, and watching those types of shows, and you know what I mean, and laughing and joking to myself. So I know that there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of talent here.
But where are you most comfortable? Management, producing, voicing, the artist side of it?
Right now, I'll probably say more towards the just being in the label and being a figurehead in my label, my personal label. Obviously, I've done songs. I've done songs for myself that I've done myself. I've produced songs for people, but I feel like you have to I feel like I need to take a step back and allow other people to kind of be creative and help them be creative and help them, with being from England and being able to see and watch from afar other people and see how their careers have gone. It allows me to then give people that I've met or that I know who I want to sign the foresight and the insight into kind of how I see things being played out. So it's a nice feeling.
After the break, Daniel talks future in the music biz, including his own recordings, and also gives his views on the widespread sampling of dancehall in international mainstream music.
Reaching more and more screens around the world every week. Onstage, so much more than entertainment.
Welcome back. We continue our chat with international football striker Daniel Sturridge.
It's a quick feet here, but it finds a way through from the angle. Daniel Sturridge back in the starting lineup.
Looking at Jamaica from where you sit in London, how do you critique what we're doing here, what we're putting out, how we go about being part of global music?
I think that what Jamaica has is unique, and I feel that if you look nowadays, a lot of people take the style of Jamaica from Drake, who's produced a song called Controller, to Tory Lanez, who's done a song called Love.
We are sip the Henny for the day, baby. Bad man, we no stray, baby.
Rihanna's from Barbados, but even still, there's a lot of Caribbean, Jamaican dancehall influences in her music, even the way she dances and things like that. There's a lot of people who are taking the style of Jamaica and bringing it to their countries. I think Kid Ink did a song as well. Tiger did a song. There's a lot of people who take the style of Jamaican music, Caribbean music, and take it to the shores which aren't here. And I think that I don't think that the dancehall artists and the reggae artists really understand how influential they are outside of Jamaica, because Jamaica's a small place, so you don't necessarily see how influential and how special and how different and how creative they are. They just see themselves here, as opposed to how the sound and the style is so niche here that it's inevitable people are going to want to try and emulate and try and imitate what it is.
Yeah.
And you can't do that really, because Jamaicans will forever evolve and forever have the style and the swag that it can't be compared to with anywhere else, to be honest. I've travelled around a lot, been to a lot of different countries, and Jamaica's different to everywhere else, and it can be imitated, but it can't be
taken away.
No, it can't be done how it should be.
The concern is, Daniel, the big concern among many of us in Jamaica, observers and experts and artists alike, is that though the music is in mainstream international music, the presence of Jamaica's music is very, very high at this time, in particular dancehall. The people facing it, the people who are the face of the music and of the dance moves too, aren't Jamaicans. They're everybody else. They're using big international brands to represent what is essentially Jamaican. And so the question is, where are the Jamaicans? Why aren't we seeing more Jamaicans?
Well, I think why I'd say that Jamaicans aren't at the forefront is because they give their ideas to people that they shouldn't.
Yes.
And I believe that in order to keep the style authentic, you shouldn't share your creativeness so easily because someone else is successful. That shouldn't then enable you to say, okay, I'll take, I don't know, $5,000 to give someone ideas that they'll take and then use, and they'll earn $100,000. That's what I think it is. I think that there's an element of doing a song that will help you to be more successful, but there's an element of keeping your craft close to your chest. And I mean, dating back 20 years, I'd say, you know, when you saw the guys who were the main people at that time when I was really young, people couldn't imitate it then. You know, when you had the guys like that were very big at that time, couldn't be imitated. But these days, with the likes of house and the likes of that type of music, it's easy, and R&B, it's easy to kind of almost imitate the sound of dancehall, but not make it dancehall. And because it's easy to do that, it then enables people to take the style and kind of wrap it up in a different type of sound. So I've got a friend who lives in Canada, his name is Boy Wonder, and he's a producer, and it's like, he's of Jamaican heritage, so he can produce dancehall beats and make them sound exactly like dancehall. He doesn't live here, but he's similar to me in the sense of he produces dancehall music. His family are from Jamaica. And I feel there's a lot of people out there. I think Major Lazer is another one who, you know, one of them is Jamaican, he lives in Miami, and you know, but there's a lot of other people who aren't from Jamaica, who can sort of imitate the sound, like DJ Mustard. He's done a lot of stuff. He did a song with some guys from the UK, who two of them are Jamaican, which is Krypton Conan. One of them is my cousin, and he's got the Jamaican heritage. So there's an element of people who exploit the sound, and there's people who are actually know how to do it because they're families and they've grown up like in the culture. So as I said, I feel like it's important for the artists to understand how good they are. And I believe that sometimes in Jamaica, artists maybe don't understand how influential they are around the world because they live in Jamaica and they don't see how far their music goes. The music's played everywhere.
Something that they don't know how to exploit the opportunities, how to become the brand that is saleable, that can go to market and can bring them the results.
I mean, for me, there's so many. I mean, you look at Chronix, for instance. Chronix is somebody who, for me, has done above and beyond what probably anyone else has done to recent times. And I've seen him have shows in London in front of thousands of people, to go to Holland, to go to Germany, and he's doing reggae music, which is something that everybody knows and loves, and positive music as well, you know, and I believe that we need more of types of people like that, you know, and the likes of people like Popcorn and all that who have gone abroad. They've also took dancehall to the next level, but it's important to understand that, you know, everybody wants to hear. I wouldn't disrespect and say nobody wants to hear explicit music, because that's what makes Jamaica authentic, but people want to hear music that, like my parents were saying, in the old days there used to be people dancing together on the dance floor and there wasn't much daggering at that time. It was more so slow, lovers rock, all that type of stuff, and it'd be nice to see that again. I think I'd like to experience that, you know, and I think a lot of people would. We don't get to see that as much these days as maybe the generations prior to us were able to see. Yeah.
So much music oozing out of you, and of course you're a practitioner. But talk about sports. Talk about football for us. How would you say where you are now in terms of your football career, and where are you going with it?
I mean, right now things are going well. Things can always be improved upon. Sorry, and I'm never complacent. I'm never somebody that likes to rest on their laurels or think that I've got to where I want to in life. There's always a next step. There's always something more you can achieve. There's always something that you can do that will make your family proud, and make the people who are behind you proud. And that's important for me. You know, I always want to push to the next level, and I always want to try and improve as a footballer and never be complacent and just rest on my laurels and think that, you know, I'm the perfect player or the perfect fit, because I'm not. There's always something you can improve on, something you can always take to the next level.
So when it's over, will it be over, football? Will you always be in it, or it seems to me that you
No.
make your time in the future
Yeah,
will be in
yeah.
music.
Yeah, I think so. I think music, I think TV work maybe. I don't think I'll be in football just because I feel like there's chapters in your life, you know, where I've put so much time and effort into one thing, and then the hours that you work at football as well and the time you spend away from your family is so intense that I wouldn't want to put my wife at that time, my kids at that time, I wouldn't want to put them through the same thing for another 10, 15 years and not be able to see my kids grow up. So I don't think I'd want to be involved in football just because of that. I think that I love the game and I always will. And maybe I'll get the itch once I'm gone and I'm not involved in the game. Maybe I would want to be involved in football again. But I do believe that it's important to have time with your family and have time with with your kids at that time. I haven't got any kids now, but at that time I'm sure I will have kids.
The music is owning.
Yeah.
I can see that. The music owns you. But it's speaking of family, talk a little bit more about that. How important is family to you? You seem to be surrounded by...
Yeah, it's the biggest thing for me. I think I've always kept them around. I always will. Just because they've always been there. And I think that along the way, you can meet people who are friends and you get along with them, but your family have been there from the get-go. They've always been there and they always will be there. And I just believe that it's important to keep them on the journey with you and help them live their dreams too. My mum's got Source Line coming out, so you know it's important to help her live her dream. My dad has got his record label, Stir Class Entertainment, and he's got a football agency also. And you know, it's just important to help my brother and sister live their dreams and to just be the best I can be for them, to help them to be successful too.
Daniel, so good, sir. So good to sit with you and to hear so much about your passion for music and how much and your views on some of the issues that the struggles that the locals are facing, the guys in the space right now trying to make themselves heard and their quest to be as good in international and in particular dancehallers. These guys you have on here.
Yes.
These are the guys who, the underclass,
Yep.
so many of them have become brands, have become someone
Yep.
that people talk about, that
Of
people
course.
write about and people celebrate because of music, so many of them. And it's good to know that they have your support, someone like you is
Yes.
supporting them. And as a community in the diaspora, the Jamaican-ness in you is so strong, so alive, so supportive, and is always willing to help. So much commendation, my friend, for this.
Exactly.
And
that.
for all the
Thank you
things
very
you've done so far,
Pleasure.
for us Jamaicans, representing us like you do, for a third generation.
Yes,
Jamaican.
I just want to say, finally, thank you very much to Grace Foods as well for sponsoring the day and for giving us the opportunity to have their help, because they're a huge brand globally and they've given us the opportunity to have their support. Without them this wouldn't be possible. And if anybody wants to apply for any grants, they can log into the Sturridge Foundation.org.uk. That's for any schools that want to apply for any grants. Anybody that wants to try and get a grant, they're more than happy to log onto the website, the SturridgeFoundation.org.uk, and they'll be able to apply for a grant.
Okay, great. And the Grace, is a family brand.
Yes.
And that you have been able to bring to music, to support music. They normally would do the more family events, and you get them to do this, so hats off to you, Reggie.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's a great achievement.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And it shows how much, when somebody steps out like you do, how much you can get help and support. But the show that you're serious and committed to the cause.
We're very grateful.
Again, Reggie, much love, much respect.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
All right, there you have him, Daniel Striker Sturridge, turned musician. And that brings us to the end of our show for this week. Winfred Williams, on behalf of the hardworking team, thanking you for joining us. Do join us again next week for more excitement right here on our stage. And as usual, always so much more than entertainment.
Taros Riley singing it.
Usain Bolt and Shelley and Fraser, they are the kings and queen in a running.
That's true.
Beanie Man are the king for the dancehall. Baba the king in a hall reggae singing. At the Olympic Games, no matter what talk, it's gold and silver we're winning. Celebration time, reefers cross the line and all the Caribbean grinning.
Hey, thanks for watching our video. Well, you know, there's so much more where that came from. And all you have to do is to click, subscribe, and be on stage. Always.
And with your house, you send me a TV level.